All right, guys, today I'm going to do my broadhead test. I bought all of these broadheads from places all over the country to get a random sample. The broadhead I have been shooting over the years has been the Rage Tri-Pan. It has performed unbelievably for me. It's a titanium ferrule with .039 blade thickness surgical steel, sharpened blades. And look, I know that the broadhead debate is probably the most ruthless, controversial, whatever you want to call it, debate in archery setup, hunting setup, whatever you will. There's the fixed blade camp, there's the mechanical camp. Just real quick, not to get in the weeds here too much, accuracy is the most important thing to me. Mechanical head is the most accurate. There's no debate that. Obviously the trend nowadays on social media and in practicality is the heavier arrow with the fixed blade head. No debating that that's a better penetrating head. I think there is a good bit of debate on what's more accurate, and I have seen that these broadheads right here have penetrated unbelievably. The wound channels they have created and the flight I have gotten out of them have really been unmatched. So what we're going to do today is a mechanical broadhead test. These are 3 brands that I am very interested in, so that's why I wanted to test them. We're going to do the Swhacker 100s, the Havoc G5 100s, and then the Rage no collars. We're going to test the weight, the penetration, how they perform on angled shots, blade integrity, and the accuracy. Obviously with the accuracy side of it, there will be some human error involved, but we'll be able to see if there's a big difference in the way they fly matched with field points. Again, we're going to be shooting all the broadheads through the arrow we're going to hunt with this year, which is the Victory Rip TKO. So everything will be very, very consistent and the same in our tests. We've developed some really cool targets we'll show you in a little bit. Kevin's done a lot of work on those targets, and I think it simulates a whitetail's body pretty well. All right, guys, this is our penetration target. A lot of thought went into this. We set it up to simulate a whitetail's anatomy. The carpet is going to represent skin, plyboard is going to represent ribs, inside tissue by this 1/2-inch foam. The plyboard is a 1/4 inch thick. And then you get into, this is recycled paper that's been ground up real thin in a bale of insulation. Obviously not the exact same makeup of a whitetail, but it's all going to be consistent and it's going to simulate it. And what we're going to do a little bit different is on our penetration test, we're going to shoot 2 arrows instead of just 1 like the normal test. So each target, each broadhead will get 2 arrows to see the penetration, and we'll do an average. So the first thing we're going to do is unpack these things and get a weight to see the tolerances and how close they are. They're all 100 grain broadheads, and then we'll start working through all the tests. So that's our next move, is to do the weight test. So we're going to unpackage them and get to work. Okay guys, I finished the broadhead testing. Pretty interesting things unfolded. At the beginning of this, I said there would be no way that I would shoot the G5 Havoc. I would never in a million years shoot these broadheads. I would never in a million years shoot these broadheads.
I would never in a million years shoot these broadheads.
Out of the box, the only ones that we could even mess with were the ones that were already put together. To try and assemble these blades and this clip design we spent 15 minutes looking up videos, reading their directions, and they had one a while ago called a spider clip or something that I never could figure out either. This is just as complicated. We used their broadhead wrench. We could not figure it out. So the ones, I mean, literally 15 minutes. We've been around broadheads our entire lives. If this thing was to open in your quiver in the dark, good luck getting it closed. And after the test, it actually performed the best, even against the Broadhead I've been shooting for the last few years, the Rage Trypan. And we called G5 just a second ago, and they have discontinued the Havoc. They're now going to be doing 3-blade, a dead meat, and a mega meat, 3-blade expandables, 2-inch cut. So the Broadhead in our test that performed the best has been discontinued. So anyway, we'll walk through all the results and tell you what we found. From the tolerances standpoint, the Swhacker was actually the best. It averaged 100.7 grains out of the 18 heads that we weighed. And there was only 1 grain difference from the highest and the lowest, so that's actually incredible. The Rage came in second at 102.3 grains was the average, and 1.4 grains was the difference in the highest and the heaviest and the lightest. G5 was the furthest off at 104.7 grains, and the highest and lowest, they were 1.8 grains off. So nothing major there. The G5, obviously, the tolerances of the G5 weren't quite as good, but again, not really far off for all 3 of them. Penetration-wise, the G5 by far was the best at 13.5 inches of penetration, followed by the Swhacker at 12 inches, and then the Rage no collar was 10.75 inches. You get into our angled shots, and the G5 again had much better penetration on the angle. All 3 of the Broadheads penetrated great with the angled shot, and we put it pretty steep, more so than a 45-degree angle. So it did, all 3 of them, there was no deflection whatsoever. Blade integrity, I would say, after looking things over, the G5 and the Swhacker were about the same. The Rage, we had one that the blade actually broke off, right here. This one, the blade actually broke in half and is in the target somewhere. And a lot of them were bent. Nothing terrible other than that one breaking. The rest of them, you know, it was just some bending. The ferrules on all the Broadheads remained the same. No worries there. On the quiet test, they were all within 0.5 decibels of each other. The Rage ended up being the quietest, but I mean, again, not anything to make a difference. Accuracy, human error, so you can't really get, or I couldn't get a lot from that other than they all flew very close to the field points. There was no, it wasn't like the G5 flew crazy and the Swhacker flew great. They were all really close in accuracy. The cutting diameter, the G5 was the best at 1 7/8 was the largest part that we measured. It had the best cutting diameter. And then at the end, what I did is I took the G5 and the blade and the Broadhead I've been shooting for the last few years, the Rage Trypan, and I shot them against each other, or I shot the Trypan to do penetration and cutting diameter, and the G5 out penetrated the Trypan, but the Trypan had a larger cutting diameter of 2 1/8 inches. So it actually had over a two inch cut. And I've had tremendous success. It is just a really killing Broadhead. The wound channel is devastating. Complete pass-throughs, almost everything I've shot. It's a great head. And I was seriously considering switching to the G5 because of the integrity of the head, the sharpness of the blades. They're insanely sharp. And then the penetration. You know, it was the best penetrating head that we had. But with them discontinuing it, I'm going to stick with the Trypan again this year. We're also going to do a fixed blade test and look at some different fixed blade Broadheads, because like I said in the beginning, I will be shooting I will have a fixed blade head in my quiver. So the G5 won, and they have discontinued it. So it's not going to help. I mean, you can find some that they still have out there if you want to try and shoot them. But for me, this year, the mechanical head I'll be shooting will be the Rage Tri-Pan. I'll stick with the head that I've been shooting. There was nothing here that really sent me over the edge to change. So I hope that gives you some value and some insight. We tried to do it as absolutely fair as we possibly could. And again, this is the first time we've done a broadhead test, so would love your feedback, questions, ideas. Let's work together on this, and anything you guys want to see. These were the three heads that I wanted to compare. I know there are a lot more out there, so we can hopefully next time we do this, we'll expand on it, and we'll keep bringing this stuff to you as we do it. Very transparent and exactly how things happen. Thanks, guys.